Sprinkles if you got them. Jack's Donuts, find a location near you, now.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. This land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family-friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Wanted was to feel loved. He said he loved me. My friends told me it wasn't a big deal. They thought he was so cool, but they didn't know what he wanted me to do.
All I ever wanted was to feel loved. You have no idea the kind of pressure I felt to take things to the next level. Things were moving so fast. I was basically the only person in the freshman class who hadn't done it yet. So, we did.
I loved him.
I thought she loved me.
My health class had CPR at school. I stayed after class to talk with the instructor about it. They showed me that it didn't have to be that way.
They showed me that I get to make my own choices.
There is another way.
That's the best thing CPR gives you. Another way. A better way.
A healthy way. Sometimes you don't see it because you're in your own world, but they don't make you feel bad. They talk to you like a real person, and they save kids from really unhealthy decisions. They tell the truth, and they know what they're talking about. So yeah, my life was different. I started to choose the better way.
I honestly don't know where I'd be or what I'd be doing had it not been for CPR.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
After the Marine Corps, I was diagnosed with PTSD and became homeless for 15 years. Like a hermit living on the street, I just existed. I came to Wheeler Mission. Wheeler operates on a culture of kindness. Going through their programs reminded me that my meaning in life is to serve God. God set me free from anxiety and depression. Before Wheeler, I just existed, but today I live.
Sprinkles if you got them. Jack's Donuts, find a location near you, now.
Hey conductor, how about something new? You played this last year. Come on, get your head out of your sacks. Shh, we're trying to hear. Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorites.
I get her, not solo.
You see if I get it?
These guys are fired up. Our crew is fired up. Game one's coming your way next.
You are watching IHSAA Lacrosse on IndianaSRN. Tonight's matchup features the Westfield Shamrocks and the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. Today's game is brought to you by our sponsors, TechLight Corporation, Morales Group, Piper Logistics, Reynolds Farm Equipment, Bertner Electric, and IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, and also brought to you by the TechLight Corporation, Rebar Development, CPM Construction, Stacy Till, your mortgage mama. And finally, Forum Credit Union. And hello, everyone. I'm Joey Lindstrom alongside my broadcast partner, Troy Darengowski. It is Hamilton Southeastern hosting the Westfield Shamrocks right here on IndianaSRN. And the IHSAA is slowly but surely coming to a close this season. But it already feels like it's playoff time. Both these teams have a lot to play for, both with 8 losses on their season. Hamilton Southeastern has gone through the gauntlet. We'll talk a bit about that as well. Westfield, a bit of a hiccup on a couple occasions, but they've lost a lot of close games. We're going to break for our national anthem, get you a preview of each of these teams right after our break here in IndianaSRN.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. His land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a deer. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Back with you here at Hamilton Southeastern alongside Troy Darengowski. I'm Joey Lindstrom, getting you prepped for some IHSAA 2A lacrosse. And Troy, a matchup with a lot of potential for both these teams to really accelerate to the finish line of the regular season. These are 2 teams who have had different appetites for their schedule when the year started. Hamilton Southeastern said, give us everybody that is great in the Midwest. They've gone through really the gauntlet this season. Westfield on the opposite side, 15-6 last year, 6-8 this year, trying to propel themselves into a position for a good finish.
Well, let's start first off with Hamilton Southeastern since we are here at Hamilton Southeastern. You're exactly right. A gauntlet, that 6-8 record or 8-8 record, that you see right now, don't pay too much attention to that because it's like any team that's going to want to be really good at the end of the year. You might come into the tournament at 500, but then you're going to blitz a lot of people because you played such a tough schedule, and that's exactly what they have done this year. 166 goals. And they have lost so many players from last year, and I know we'll get to the action here as you're watching the 2 teams get ready to play this one, but they lost so many good players from last year that expecting them to come out of the chute and play as well as you want them to probably wasn't going to happen, and I think that's why they played a tougher schedule.
And on the Westfield side, you look at Troy Dinkel's squad, his 6th season at the helm. He's optimistic about his team. He's lost 2 of their top point scorers, 190 points between those two players last year. One of those is Sawyer Strong, who for a long time last season led the state in goals. And he realizes this team is really up against the wall when it comes to their ability to win games without two of their best offensive players, but he's proud of the effort of his team.
Yeah, and they got great effort for sure. And if you're going to lose 190 points from last year, you're not only thinking about the physical side of it, but then the mental side of other players. They're going to have to step up and try to make up on that deficit on offense. Not an easy thing to do.
That's Owen O'Rourke on the first shot attempt of the day. This Westfield defense is lined with some players who really do make an impact for this team. You look at guys like Lunsford, who was a utility guy, a couple of trees up there for Westfield as well. O'Rourke, another chance off the post. The response off the crossbar. Well, the strategy for Scott Beasley's team is clear. Let everything rip against Spencer Ellis.
Well, I watched some film on this Hamilton Southeastern team from some of their games earlier this year. And, of course, by the way, Spencer Ellis, already impressive. But what you notice already about Hamilton Southeastern, which is very true, is the quickness they have on the shots. And we're talking about sometimes when they are firing, it is a line drive that is going to be really, really difficult. If Spencer Ellis lives up to what we think he can do tonight, they've got to hold Hamilton Southeastern under 10. They have a good shot of winning.
128 saves for Ellis, 99 goals allowed, 56% save percentage throughout the year. One of the best goalies statistically in the state. On the other side, we'll see him in a little bit. Colin Kreckler, the big brick wall in between the sticks for the Royals.
Well, a little bit ago, you saw Ellis make a really nice save. Now, one thing he's going to have to do is do a better job on the clears because he sent it 50, 60 yards downfield. And the problem was he ended up turning it over and brought it back. So be a little more careful in your transition.
Large strategy for Scott Beasley and his team today was trying to get Westfield out of position defensively. They like to get in that kind of muddle zone with their long stick midi, working up top. Now you can already see Hamilton Southeastern needing to work on off-ball cutters, getting themselves moving.
Well, word has it, again, Westfield probably doesn't want to play a lot of zone. They want to play more man-to-man, but again, you're talking about finding a way to get a stick on a ball like that and get as many deflections as you can to disrupt that offense.
And Zach Heelman with the deflection, and Tyler Brown with the pickup, and their first time out of the game belongs to the Westfield Shamrocks. Let's keep it here because there's a good story with these two coaches. Scott Beasley and Troy Dinkle played club lacrosse together in college when they were at Ball State. And so they've had this sort of, developed rivalry, if you will, over the years now that they've been able to coach around the same area. Troy Dinkle spent a lot of time in California, won Coach of the Year one year out there, and now giving back to Indiana. He was Coach of the Year a couple of years ago. That's a cool connection you get to have, and I'm sure that Troy Dinkle would like to kick Scott Beasley's team's butt.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Certainly when you think about that friendship, it'll carry over until they start playing, and then you kind of forget about it. They always talk about that. I mean, you're going to have the respect for each other for sure, no matter what happens, but the bottom line is, I'm not in this to play checkers here. We're in this to win this game, so that's what it's all about.
And Scott even said, he's like, did Troy ask about me over the phone when when we're talking to him prepping for this ball game here in IndianaSRN? It's a lot of fun to be able to call games in this state. Lacrosse is forever growing, and it's a lot of fun that we get to be able to bring that action to you and some of the best talent in the state.
Well, I was telling you earlier before we got on the air, watching Michigan play today in the Big Ten against Maryland. Michigan was winning that game early. Maryland, you know how good they are. And then I believe this game was a little bit older, but because there was snow on the sidelines, but then you watch teams like Penn
and Cornell.
Cornell. I mean, just amazing, amazing talent in this country.
Premier Lacrosse League draft is tonight as Theo Dagger lays the lumber while he's trying to clear. He's the best goal scorer on this team statistically. Gets it done there, but it's going to be a turnover. No, this is offsides for Hamilton Southeastern.
Yeah, Dagger, by the way, he took that hit. it didn't even budge him at all. That just shows you how big and strong he is as an offensive player.
Wrap up that thought about the PLL draft tonight. You watch those players. Tucker Dordovic out of Georgetown. He's a recruit out of Portland, Oregon. First Oregon native to be drafted in professionally, I believe. And he's, that just goes to show the growth of the sport West, right? But the Midwest is becoming more and more prominent as you get a look at teams like this.
Well, and you're right. Big in the East, and then the Midwest is getting bigger and bigger because it really did kind of jump all the way to the West because there's so many good teams out West. But it's really nice to see how much it continues to grow here in Indiana. See, in Westfield right now, I like the patience here. They know they want to keep this in a low-scoring affair. The powerhouse offense that you have in Hamilton Southeastern, play a little possession lacrosse at this stage and really play good possession lacrosse.
Lunsford got D'd up nicely by Caleb Johnson.
When you really got to get back, transition defense here.
One more pass inside. O'Rourke finishes and gets the first goal of the day for the Royals.
Well, how beautiful was that? You're talking about midfield, 3 passes, and the next thing you know, you got a goal, and that really is one of those that's not on Spencer Ellis. Came off the turnover, and you defenders couldn't get back in time.
O'Rourke's 34th goal in the season, now tied for the team best with Max Kemp.
Well, I tell you what, that was almost as picture perfect of a transition into offense as you're going to see in high school lacrosse.
And that was something that Scott Beasley said. We lost a bit of that, general sensibility of how fast we usually play when we're playing these teams out of state. They played Carmel on Friday to an 11-6 loss, I want to say. I'll correct that if that's wrong, but 11-4 loss rather.
Yeah.
But you get yourself in a spot where you were not playing like yourself, according to Scott Beasley.
Well, and again, you lost so much as you see another turnover, good hit there and a clean hit.
Oh, yeah.
You lost so much from last year, it's awful hard to say, well, let's just pick up where we left off. You got to have time to get guys developed.
O'Rourke outside the cage. And that's true. Carmel and HSE have long had this rivalry as well, where crosstown rivals, these kids have played together since they were young. It feels like a matchup we'll probably see again in the playoffs, whatever round it might be. But Carmel at least had HSE's number and caught them on a bit of a losing streak. They've been a streaky team all year. They won their first 5 games, lost their next 5, won their next 3, and then lost their last 3 leading up to today.
Well, and it's certainly when you're thinking about consistency, that's what you're looking for, is to be consistent. And those ups and downs as head coach can drive you nuts just trying to find and push the right buttons. But they'll push the right buttons when the time is really necessary, and I think you're talking about it right now. We're at the crunch time. You got to get things figured out here pretty soon.
Ewing underneath to O'Rourke.
O'Rourke missed that last shot just off the mark. As you see the nice hit inside, his angle wasn't really good, but boy, here's another turnover by Westfield.
Yeah, Hillman put in all that effort to get that turnover. But another great poke check and some physicality to follow.
Oh, I love it. You're going to earn it, every bit of it.
Kai Trott, one of the 3 goal scorers for HSE against Carmel on Friday. Zipped underneath, Ellis with the save. That's 4 already for Spencer Ellis.
Yeah, but Ellis,
another turnover.
Clear. Yep.
Now we'll continue to plague Westfield with HSE riding tough and a flag to ensue. We didn't address it, but we had our first penalty of the day for the Shamrocks right away off the first face-off. This is the second face-off. Just want to give a shout-out to these officials tonight. They just officiated over at Fishers High School against Heritage Christian, and now they drove all the way over here. Oh, no, I shouldn't say all the way over. It's not that far. But regardless, 2 games in one night on a weeknight, no less.
Well, like
tough sell.
Many of the other sports, you're having a difficult time finding officials, and it's really nothing new to anybody, including lacrosse.
We got to get you on the stripes out there.
I should. Well, the only problem is I only do the indoor sports.
Yeah, okay.
That way it's not hot.
You can wear a hat. I know you like your hats.
See, that's why I do basketball. I can stay inside. It's a controlled environment, you know. With my fair skin, I wouldn't do very well in the sun.
O'Rourke. They had some trouble. Westfield's defense, pretty formidable so far. Oh, man! What a beautiful rip.
HSC goal, number 27, John Paul.
John Paul's a strong right hand.
So now what we call a laser.
That was a laser.
Nobody, I'm sure, I mean, I feel bad for Ellis. You'd like to have your defender maybe a little bit closer in front of you, but that was a laser indeed. Now, here's one thing that Westfield didn't want to have happen, and that is fall down early. They need to get their offense going. They've had a couple of really crucial turnovers, especially with Ellis trying to clear. And again, you got to win the faceoff as well, because right back into the offensive side is Hamilton Southeastern.
O'Rourke slams himself into that safety net. And HSE gets it back. His effort is rewarded. See the Hamilton Southeastern Royals donning the throwback jerseys.
You know what? And if they win big tonight, they'll probably don them again. Would be my guess.
I'd say you're probably right on that prediction. 4.5 to play in the first quarter. Troy Darengowski, Joey Lindstrom. This is a lot of fun to be a part of. And lacrosse, as it continues to grow, IndianaSRN will continue to have coverage. So excited to bring that to you.
Well, I think this is
Barry.
I think it's a big possession here defensively for Westfield. They want to fall down 3-0, and that was a wide shot. But the thing is, it becomes a mental thing too, because then you're thinking, now I got to really work. They haven't been down at the other end of the field very much here. Talking about offensively for Westfield, they need to get it going.
O'Rourke. Oh, man, almost burned a worm on his way. Another goal for Owen O'Rourke. And now he leads the team with 35.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a long goal right there, and O'Rourke went low. Ellis didn't get a good look at it. I know Ellis is good side to side and low, but he just couldn't get down in time, and might have been even blocked by one of the defenders in front of him. Just didn't get a good look at it.
Well, Westfield just needs a possession here.
Boy, how important is that, Joey? I mean, you got to get these face-offs, and you got to get these possessions, and it just hasn't happened yet for Westfield.
Nick Weber, another face-off win. Gavin Wright and Nick Weber have been a dynamic duo, to say the least. Now here's a turnover, and Westfield's on the run. This is Zeke Richardson.
Yep.
Trying to scoot it up to Lucas Smogard, but another turnover this time in the offensive end. Kreckler hasn't been very busy tonight, but here he is clearing.
Those turnovers going to be big here if Hamilton Southeastern continues to take advantage.
O'Rourke just over the head of Ellis, and it's 4-0 HSC.
I don't know if you're keeping stats, but
just goals.
Yeah,
it's not too extensive.
That's all that really matters. But think about the amount of goals after a turnover. I would imagine we're probably 3 out of 4 at least, because we had seen 2 by your goalie Ellis, and then you had the turnover just now on the offensive end. So I mean, those kind of mistakes are the difference between being a team that's ranked number 2 and maybe a team that's ranked number 7 or lower.
Westfield was flirting with the number 4 spot all season last year. Ended up 5th in the state to finish out the regular season. They lost to Culver Military Academy in the quarterfinals of the tournament. This will be Westfield's ball.
Yeah, I mentioned when I saw this Hamilton Southeastern team on film how, especially when you talk about Owen O'Rourke, but you look at Mason Wright, Gavin Barry, these guys seem to be so fast that if your defenders aren't getting good position to help out your goalkeeper, you're going to be in big trouble. That's a great move.
The dagger spinning out of trouble, but gets himself into a little more. Loses the ball, and there's a scrum. Somehow Westfield ends up with it. Trying to shovel underneath was Noah McCoy. Second in scoring on this team. But it's saved by Kreckler. Another turnover. No call. And this is Westfield ball. Alex Dickmeyer. Over top. Dagger! Nothing more needs to be said. Stings that one. And gets Westfield on the board.
Boy, and they needed that. So now we're talking about 5 goals, 4 coming off a costly turnover, even on the offensive or defensive end there by Hamilton Southeastern. And one thing, when you saw Fishers go into their offense, I thought the defense really collapsed really well. We're talking about double, triple team there, and they had to really work to get that ball back just to get a shot off.
And it should be said, too, that Theo Dagger made that possession happen, clearing it all by himself, Braveheart style.
One thing that the Shamrocks will need, though, they're going to need more than him, so other guys are going to have to step up. You got a flag now.
This will be on Westfield. Ball's out, and another flag following. Tyler Brown, the second offender. So push with possession is the verdict.
And we have all kinds of changes coming in, too.
Yep, so this will be 2 men down. This will be 2 men down for Westfield.
Boy, and how big is this? I mean, we'll probably talk about this maybe the rest of the night, how mistakes can lead to opportunities for your opponent. And right now, other than the one for Westfield, everything has been going the Royals' way. And, boy, now you're 2 up on this one.
And you got the freshman Cole McGrath working out there in this 2-man down box for Westfield.
Well, keep an eye on O'Rourke here on this on the right side.
No doubt. Got to watch that skip pass.
Well, and you have 3 goals already. Has the hot hand. I wouldn't be too sure they wouldn't go back to him.
O'Rourke. Bad angle shot. No big deal. Number 4 scores his golden number.
Wow. Well, he didn't have just a bad angle. He had no angle and still was able to get it in. I can't wait to see this one again.
4 goals already for Owen O'Rourke. 5-1 early for Hamilton Southeastern. He was the focal point for Troy Dinkel's team in their strategy tonight. Stop number 4.
Well, what do you say now?
So far, not good for this Westfield defense. A nice scoop underneath from Lunsford, excuse me. And now Westfield, with just under 90 seconds to play in the first quarter, has some work to do to cut in this lead. This is Dagger. He's got 1 goal already. He's been getting some college looks as well. Just a sophomore is Dagger, and he's going to be able to grow into his body. A 6'3" frame. Skinny now, but just wait till his senior year.
Well, I still have to go back to the other end with O'Rourke and the angle of his shot. We have a really good look at it from here in the press box, and I just don't know how he was able to get that by Ellis.
His players will just amaze you sometimes with their skill.
Yeah.
Dagger's got a step. Kreckler saved. Second true save for Colin Kreckler. 40 seconds to go in the first.
When I like the physicality of this Royal defense, you get it, you're going to get checked. You're going to take a hard hit, so you better be ready if you're Westfield.
And they're playing everybody outside. Usually you just wait for the restraining box to go play defense. Westfield might be content to keep possession here unless they want to try to get a shot before the end of the quarter.
Well, they better hurry.
Jackson Gilbert working inside, and that possession is all for naught. He was looking for Alex Dickmeyer. And HSE is in firm control after 1 quarter of action because of goals like this. And namely, Owen O'Rourke.
Small window.
We'll be right back here on IndianaSRN.
We really focus on modern application development, DevOps, so automating the whole process of delivering your solution, and cloud architecture.
Is very important for mid to large companies to have cloud partners because you can't possibly have all the talent you need to address the complex ecosystem of the cloud.
We advise them on all parts of their business. And then when things are defined and we see a clear goal, Clean Slate also then goes and does the work.
We have a team that is very passionate about what they do. We love to solve complex problems, and there's a lot of companies out there that will avoid, getting involved in those things, and I think that's why clients like to work with us.
5-1 Hamilton Southeastern ahead of Westfield. IHSAA 2A action here on IndianaSRN. Owen O'Rourke with 4 goals for the Royals in that first quarter, Troy, and he has just been spectacular. He was 1 goal behind the team lead, Max Kemp, for goals this season at 33. He's already now up to 37.
Well, you know what? When you watch him, he doesn't look physically, demanding and empowering. You just kind of think, okay, but he's got a quick wrist, and that one shot that he had that was the one out top that was the laser, just incredible, but he found a great angle, again, twice on this side where that window couldn't have been much bigger than the ball itself, and he was able to score. And we talked about that. They're watching him. They're going to come back to this side because he's so good from the right side. So now you're going to take a look at it right there. But here's the other thing about this. We have seen 6 goals, and you look at 5 mistakes made by the teams.
Yep.
Not saying that, but that really comes from taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. And if you're going to win, that's what you do. So now if you're Westfield, you got to cut down the mistakes, get into offense, and get moving.
Weber won the face-off, almost a quick stick goal for O'Rourke off the feed of Max Kemp.
Yeah, Joy, that was almost a replay of what we saw in the first quarter when Hamilton Southeastern had about 3 or 4 passes, and the next thing you know, it was a 2-on-1 against the goalie, and it was over, and O'Rourke scored, I believe, the first of his 4 goals.
Spencer Ellis, 4 saves to his credit so far. 5 goals allowed. And they really couldn't help that last one being 2 men down. That is a tough out if you're Westfield, and Hamilton Southeastern takes advantage of that power play.
And that's exactly, again, you go back to the mistake. You cannot get yourself in a situation where you have a couple of penalties and the next thing you know you're down by 2. So, and you can't do that against a team like the Royals, and they made you pay for it.
Oh, that's a turnover here. Max Kemp to Shane Gastineau. Scott Beasley wants a lot more production out of some of his seniors. Markedly, Gastineau is one of those guys.
Well, a rare turnover, what you saw a little bit ago by Hamilton Southeastern, but they will force turnovers, and that's another bad pass right there, and so you got it right back.
Yeah, Tyler Brown trying to get it over to Zach Heelman. Kreckler zooms this one to Max Kemp.
One thing, you can be really patient when you have 5-1. You've had control, possession. Time of possession has been on your side all night long for Hamilton Southeastern. You have the hot hand of O'Rourke. Everything really kind of going your way. So here's where you can be patient. Take your time.
Kemp thought about it. Got with the adjacent slide from Lunsford. Inside. And almost another great shot from John Pauls.
And it gives you an idea, is what I said a little while ago, when you watch the Royals on film, just how quick they are. Their shots are just so sharp and so fast. It's really hard as a defender even to see where that shot is at. And I can see certainly why Spencer Ellis is going to be earning his keep tonight.
No doubt. Kress underneath. O'Rourke wide open, stings it. Can't leave that guy open. HSC's got 6 goals. 5 of them belong to number 4.
The quick reversal, bring it back behind the cage, get it to O'Rourke, who, by the way, now shows how lethal they can be on the left side, and you just can't leave your keeper all by himself. Watch this. Nobody there to help.
Not the guy you want to leave alone. He's 5 for 6 in the day. Shots on goal.
Westfield had 2 defenders come down to this side and follow the guy behind the cage and left him all by himself. Just, again, another mistake made by the Shamrocks.
That's a trouble with sliding adjacent like that, because you get yourself into a spot where you're not sure where you're going to go if you are leaving yourself. You might leave your man on an island if you do slide adjacent like that.
Well, here we go again, though, too, Joey. I mean, we're looking at your back on offense again. Your defense is going to have to do again more chasing here. It's a lot to put on a defense when you're down also 6-1.
It is. Shot over top the cage from Teddy Johnson. After this game, HSE will travel to Zionsville, 12-1 Zionsville team. They'll then host Culver Military Academy and then host Fishers with Mudsock. Spencer Ellis collects that one nicely for his 5th save.
Yeah, we are just, within a week and a half before this regular season will be over, and then when it gets to tournament time, you're basically one and done. So
Westfield will take a timeout, and we will take one with them. You are watching IHSAA Lacrosse on IndianaSRN.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Welcome back to Hamilton Southeastern. Royals lead 6-1 in a game where Westfield has a lot to prove for themselves, Troy. You get into this spot towards the end of the year where you have 4 games left, one of them obviously being a Titan that is Hamilton Southeastern, where you try to feel out where you are within your season. At this point last year, they were feeling good about themselves. They had a lot going for them, but you lose 2 of your best players, markedly. Sawyer Strong, who was leading goal scorer for most of the year last season, and a guy who really was the emotional leader of this team. A lot of rebuilding for Troy Dinkle's team.
Well, here's one thing you got to remember, that none of the other teams really care too much if you ended up losing your top 2 players, because they're going to come out and play whether they're there or not. So it's a tough thing. You lose your 2 best players like that, but you got to find somebody else who's going to step up. Expectations might remain the same, might be a little bit unrealistic, but if these other guys step up the way you hope they can, maybe by tournament time, you can certainly be a huge threat.
Offsides on Hamilton Southeastern. You know, another addition to this Westfield coaching staff that has made an impact is Mikey Wim. Played at Notre Dame with Sergio Perkovic, Ryder Garnsey, Brett Kavanaugh, a guy who gives this Westfield Shamrocks team a different perspective of, hey, I know what it's like to play with some of the best that even the PLL has to offer, and those guys were my teammates in college.
Yeah.
He's now able to move this offense in a different way, help this defense try to see how good offenses play. And he's also able to challenge Spencer Ellis. Spencer Ellis all the time wants Mikey Wim to, he says, Coach, bring it. I want to take more shots from you. I want to get myself ready for what some of the best the state has to offer. And it's shown.
I mean, we'd all love to have that kind of experience from somebody who's been through all of that.
Yep.
And if you are smart and you're a wise player, you'll listen to the advice that you're given. So, I mean, kudos there to Ellis that he's getting that kind of coaching.
Tyler Brown gets the touch. 6.5 to play in the second quarter. This is Theo Dagger once again. Troy Dinkel very content to just slow down.
Well, one thing I was going to mention, Joey, is that you have to now find a fine line between not hurrying too much and also slowing down to get the offense what you want. You got plenty of time, so you're right. Just do what you do normally in offense. It got you here, then go from there.
Kreckler with another save. Wasn't a great angle for Dagger.
He may not get many great angles, though. I mean, you see that defense, how they move.
Underneath the BTB. Hello. John Paul's second goal in style.
Well, their transition from defense to offense and getting into scoring position. I mean, we've seen 3 plays like that tonight, as good as any that you're going to see. What I find interesting, when you look at, again, all the offense they lost from last year, it almost appears like they haven't lost anybody, and that's just how good they are right now.
That was slick from John Pauls. Doesn't happen without the assists. And Hamilton Southeastern's back on offense right away.
You know,
wasting no time.
What's amazing when you watch Hamilton Southeastern play, it's like they can just throw that ball about anywhere and they know somebody's there.
Yeah.
It's like they're reading each other's mind, and it's a fun thing to watch what they're capable of doing.
Graham Ewing has Lunsford, the shorty, on him. Offenses, of course, want to take advantage of that. Pauls dishes, now trying to get it inside, deflected away by Tyler Brown.
He was looking for O'Rourke. As you see O'Rourke playing right there straight down the lane. You know what's funny about O'Rourke, then? We've seen him on the right, we've seen him on the left, now they put him in the middle.
Shot goes wide across the face of Ellis. You can put this guy anywhere. Plug and play mentality, and also somebody who will do anything for his team to get not only himself in the right position, but also his teammates and put them in the right spot.
Well, what makes it interesting, what you said earlier, is that Coach Dinkel said, you know what, we want to stop O'Rourke. Well, that's hard to do when he can play 3 different areas there and be comfortable with whatever shot he has to take. So you think about your defense, their communication has to step up even another level.
Theo Dagger gets the touch on the clear. 4 minutes to play in the first half. Be able to catch the club invitational and the 1A and 2A state championships on IndianaSRN. First weekend of June. Site will be Roncalli High School, but you can catch all the action streamed here You'll show up to that, right?
Depends.
Depends on how you're feeling that day.
That's right.
About Keith, maybe.
I haven't been told yet what I'm getting paid to do it, so.
Oh, that depends there.
Yeah.
Dagger's attempt off the post. Kreckler was looking for it. Had the nice assist there from Jenkins.
You know, I've told you before, I'm a union guy, and if I have to do 2 games that day, something's got to change. So.
Kemp wide of the cage. Well, Hamilton Southeastern has been gracious host the last few years. Roncalli gets to host this season, and it'll be interesting to see how the complexion of that event does change, right? I mean, you know, whenever a host site does change, obviously there are a lot of different factors. Hamilton Southeastern has had the luxury of winning back-to-back state championships on their home field.
Yeah.
You know, they make it that far at Roncalli. Does that maybe change their mindset as well? Who knows?
Yeah, that's always difficult to say. But I'll tell you what, you're looking at a Hamilton Southeastern team that has played games on the road this year. So I don't think that'll bother them too much. And again, you have the championship pedigree. I think that they'll feel just fine going a little bit further south.
Well, we talked about the 8-8 record, and of course that might have a little bit of an underlying factor there. Their only loss in state was against Carmel last Friday. They're 6-1 overall in state, 1-7 out of state, because they're playing some of the best that the MSLA has to offer, some of the best that just the Midwest in general has to offer. You play Brother Rice or Forest Hill Central out of Michigan, or you go and play a Moeller out of Cincinnati. It all goes to how much better these kids are getting because of the competition they're playing.
Well, think about, as you see the Royals back on offense again, think about teams over the past few years that you'll go, why have they only, like, let's take football for example. You go Bishop Chatard, they're 4-4, 4-5 going into the tournament, or 5-4. Well, look at all the teams they played, and all of a sudden then they run the table and win a state championship.
Yep.
Warren Central football, another one I can think of right off the top of my head, and there's probably plenty of others. There's nothing wrong. You just play a really good schedule. Would you rather do that and really know what your team's all about? Or would you rather have it feel like fool's gold and you get in the tournament and you're 20-0 in basketball and you lose the first round of the sectional?
Right.
Well, that gives you a good idea that you should have played a tougher schedule.
Oh, my! Call Sports Center. Lucas Kress. Back-to-back behind-the-back shots for goals for HSE. But that one may have, I think there might be a little bit of trick shot competition between he and John Pauls. Look at this. I mean, relative to the goal, I don't know if he knew exactly where he was.
I don't think he had to. And that was not only, you think maybe if I did it around the waist, but it was over the shoulder.
Right.
Behind the back.
Incredible. Incredible. Johnson picks it up. Off the ground, Westfield, midfield, giving some trouble to these Royals. And that's going to be a late hit, likely maybe unnecessary roughness there from Zach Hillman.
Yeah, but you see who has the ball again in possession on offense. And I'm sure for Westfield, they're getting a little bit frustrated here because their possessions are short and they're turning the ball over and they're not winning the face-offs and just things are not going their way. And, you just don't want to, again, you're down 8-1. You need to stop right here. Don't let one more goal here to happen before the half.
Final 30 to play in the first half here at Hamilton Southeastern. Royals have been in control since the jump. Only goal for Westfield coming from Theo Dagger. Ellis trying to scoop that one. Kemp, a little bit quicker hands. Shots away. Ellis with the save.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not sure he knew where it was, but he made a nice save to his right. Boy, you could look that right before that shot, it almost appeared it was going to be one of those that I tipped it and then I hit it again. Almost looked like a double shot there. So good job there for Ellis to get that last save.
That was Tyler Bast on the shot there. It looked like it was going to find its way home. Ellis, his 6th save of the day, unofficially, of course. and Westfield will finish the last 12 seconds man down.
Well, this again, I mean, you're talking about if you want to get back into this, you only 12 seconds isn't a lot of time, but it's enough of this kind of offense if they decide to attack it, and it doesn't look like they will.
HSE will go into the half comfortable. 8-1 retribution on the line for HSE, not for any reason that Westfield has to do it. They are on a 33-game losing streak and want to get back and right the ship. So far, so good for Scott Beasley's team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like you said, right from the very beginning, bang, 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 O'Rourke with the 5 goals, and he was just unstoppable, and I know that was one of the keys. Try to stop him, but then you have 2 other guys step up as well, which is exactly what you were hoping if you're a Royal fan that others will step up, and they did. So now you go into the locker room. I've been on that side of the ledger when you're down big, and then what do you say to your team other than, listen, you can only do it 1 possession at a time, but you got to have possessions, and you can't turn it over. I wrote mistakes on the top of my sheet, and that's the key. You got to cut. If you're going to be Westfield and get back in it, you got to cut down the mistakes.
Highlight reel action all over the field right now for Hamilton Southeastern. Westfield, like Troy said, trying to cut into this deficit. We'll see what their halftime messages are. And we'll go to our halftime break. You are watching IHSAA Lacrosse on IndianaSRN.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to IHSAAfoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
Whether or not you've ever stepped into a church before, you've probably seen one of these, a Bible. It's the most read, most translated, most debated, most placed in a hotel room book of all time, and people have been reading it for thousands of years. And yet, for many of us, the Bible can feel really complex and intimidating. I mean, where do we start? And what does an ancient book have to do with everyday life in Murfreesboro, Tennessee? Well, there's a million different ways to start trying to get a better understanding of the Bible. You can read it on your own, study it with others, or even come to a service in Three Crosses or New Harvest Sanctuary to hear people teach about it. Heck, you can even take some classes about the Bible across I-24 at MTSU. But this year at World Outreach, we're going to try something a little different. We're going to dive in and look at the Bible as one great big story, to get to know the characters and storylines like we would if we were watching an epic movie. We're going to take a journey together along the timeline of this great story. Our hope is, in the end, that we'll see the Bible in new ways, that the story would come to life and change us, that we'll find that we truly have a mighty source in the Bible. So sit back, take a deep breath, and get ready, because here we go. The narrative of the Bible starts with God. The Bible is an unfolding drama about God and about what God is doing on planet Earth. The story begins with Earth in chaos and God beginning to bring order to that chaos. Over the course of 6 days, God spoke and our world began to take shape. Each day, God would stop and look at whatever was created, clouds or grass or mountains or raccoons, and think, that's good. The world was perfect, just as God intended it to be. Then, on the 6th day, God decided to make a creature called man by scooping up some dirt from the earth and breathing life into it. God named him Adam. God placed Adam in a garden that was full of plants and animals. Then, God told Adam it was his job to take care of everything in the garden, even to name each and every one of the animals. In the garden were 2 unique trees, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam to eat anything from the garden, except for the fruit that came from the tree of knowledge. As you're probably already aware, the story doesn't end there. At some point, God decided it wasn't good for man to live alone. God wanted a suitable companion and helper for Adam, but nothing else God had created so far did the trick. So God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep and pulled a rib out of his body, using it to form another creature. God called this creature woman and named her Eve. After doing all this amazing work, God took a break on the seventh day. God gave a special blessing on this day of the week, setting it apart to be different than the other 6 days. Adam and Eve lived in the garden, enjoying a perfect relationship with one another. They lived perfectly with their surroundings, taking care of the earth as God had told them to. And they had a perfect relationship with God, spending time with God each day. Talk about mighty. That's some pretty amazing stuff God did. Not a bad start to the story, huh? Life, for now, was just as God had intended it to be.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 21 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake. Yeah.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got a counter right here. Isn't this where you place the orders?
We sell trophies, we sell plaques, we do embroidery. No food.
You got carry out?
Unlike the internet, everything that you need we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
You know, Jim, I'll be back tomorrow to pick it all up.
We'll wait for you.
Don't wait long.
At the point we left off in the story, everything was going just as God had intended. God had given Adam and Eve a perfect world and a perfect relationship with one another, with their surroundings, and with God. Yep, sounds a lot like today. People getting along, everybody loving God, taking care of the earth. Yeah, not so much. So what happened? Well, a serpent in the garden came to Adam and Eve and tried to convince them to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the same tree that God had told them not to. The serpent told them that they would be just like God if they ate from it. Well, we don't know what the exact kind of fruit was, an apple, an orange, or a juicy Tennessee tomato. And we don't know for sure whether they believed the serpent or wanted to find out for themselves. The fact of the matter is, Adam and Eve ate that fruit. This decision would change the course of history and had immediate consequences. Adam and Eve couldn't live in the garden anymore, and their perfect relationship with God and each other was broken. From there, things just seemed to get worse. One of Adam and Eve's sons murdered his brother, and their grandchildren did all sorts of wicked things. We're trying to keep it as PG as possible here at World Outreach, so we'll skip over the nastier details, but as the population of the earth grew, evil and wickedness took over. How would things ever get back to the way God had intended at the start of creation? At one point, things got so bad that God was sorry for ever creating humans. You heard that right. God was sorry for making humans. It's in the story. You can look it up. So, God decided to start over by wiping out the entire population of Earth with a great flood. He spared one man named Noah and his family and a bunch of animals that Noah...
Welcome back to Hamilton Southeastern. and a coverage of IHSAA Lacrosse here on IndianaSRN. This broadcast is copyrighted by the Indiana High School Lacrosse Association and IndianaSRN. Any use of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the IHSAA and IndianaSRN is prohibited. Alongside Troy Derengowski, Joey Lindstrom, this has been a matchup featuring Westfield versus Owen O'Rourke. That first half, 5 goals for number 4, the senior, showing out in that first half. But a number of other goals for this Hamilton Southeastern team have come because of great passing and great efficiency on offense as well, proving why they have such a big lead.
Well, you know what? When you mention that, here's the other thing about it. When you're focused so much on one player, as Westfield has tried, again, they said that's what they want to do, stop him. You kind of open up the door for others too, because then your focus is so much on one player that you leave others off the mark. And so I think it's big for Westfield. Now, they didn't get the possession to start, so now they go into offense. They need to get something here. If they can get 2 or 3 right here, I mean, that's really big, as they will get closer to that 4th. But they got to give themselves a chance to win in the 4th.
And still shorthanded. They had 12 seconds in the first half remaining when they started that penalty. So it will release soon. They'll get back to full strength. But meanwhile, Hamilton Southeastern is going to go ahead and double everybody.
Yeah, and I like it because it forces you off the lane you want to take, and all of a sudden now you've got to readjust and do something else offensively. I tell you, this is a quick defense that you're watching here tonight for Hamilton Southeastern. They get to the ball quick. If there's a 50-50 ball, they're generally on top of it, and they keep everybody in front of them.
Kreckler has 4 saves tonight. All those -1 shots on goal for Westfield.
Yeah, Kreckler, too. I mean, we're very familiar with his ability as a goalie, but he's just a tough one to get by.
Lunsford. Ooh, nifty move. And Westfield's got their second goal.
Well, we just mentioned a little bit ago, this is a big possession. And now it's 6. Get a possession, and maybe in the next 2, get another one. You start cutting it one down. I guess we said before we went into halftime, you got to do it one at a time. It's a cliche thing to say, but there really ain't much more you can do. You don't have, 4 or 5 point shots here. You got to take one possession at a time. But keep those mistakes down for Westfield. Give yourself a chance.
He's 5th on the team in goals, Zach Lunsford is. He's a guy who he's described as the utility player. He can play short stick defensive midfielder because he's great at defense. He can play offense and scoop underneath just like that. A guy that Troy Dinkle really likes to have on his team and on his side.
Well, you saw how quickly the Royals got into their offense, and Shamrocks had to get back quick, and now you'll see a change in the offensive lineup here for Hamilton Southeastern. So, again, we talk about big possessions. Now this is a big possession for this Westfield defense.
There's O'Rourke, man of the hour. 5 goals in that first half to get up to 38 on the season. This is Max Kemp, second on the team in goals. Weaving through a skip pass. Ellis with the save. Bounces right off his chest plate after it bounced off the ground. And Westfield wants a timeout.
Yeah, that's a huge save. And I like the timeout, too, because now they feel they have a little momentum going their way.
We will take a break, as Westfield will, right here on IndianaSRN. Be back with you in a moment.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Zach Lunsford gave Westfield its second goal, and Ellis gets the save for the Shamrocks. It was Lunsford's 12th goal in the season. He's got 10 assists. And the Rocks are looking like they have a little bit more of a spirited, they're going to put more of a spirited effort on display here in the second half.
Got to stop, first possession. You come down, you get a score. Now you get a timeout because you're going to be back on offense again. Again, you're looking at something to build on, and that's exactly what has happened so far very early here in the third period.
And now when you're looking at this from an offensive strategy standpoint, if you're Westfield, are you trying now to ISO some of your guys, or are you just trying to just work this around against this HSE defense?
I think you got to work it around and try to do exactly this, get past those defenders, and of course you got a flag here on this near side, take advantage of it right here. I don't think you can ISO anybody. This defense is too good. There's another one.
John Poles, a repeat offender. He ran into the official down at midfield, which normally is inadvertent, but it got called for offsides there, that's why. And then follows it up with the hit right as you'll see here on your screen as Dagger's trying to dish it to Lunsford, and that's, you can't do that.
Well, if I'm going to get a penalty, I was offsides already. I may get my money's worth, right? No need to mess that up.
It'll just be one man in the box for Hamilton Southeastern.
Wouldn't you like to be that? Like if you're a hockey player, you could be the goon, the guy that always beats everybody up. That's what I want.
You want to be that for lacrosse?
Yeah. With the most penalty minutes of anybody.
I think with the field stretched wider, though, I don't know if you want to be that guy with your teammates. I think your teammates would take it out on you. Dude, you made us run so much further. Hockey, you had that smaller space.
True. Yeah.
When you're killing a penalty, I mean, I'm sure it's a lot tougher. I never played hockey, but
so they may want me to run their sprints for them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Since they'd be the ones that'd be shorthanded most of the time.
Westfield is slowly but surely working this ball around.
Well, I don't think it's a bad strategy here, but then you want to make a move relatively quickly.
And they will there. Shot there from Noah McCoy. Wide of the cage. Great hustle by Shefferly to get HSE that possession back. And Caleb Johnson will work to clear. Try to Braveheart this one.
I got to tell you, when we talked about the mistakes earlier, that wasn't really a mistake, but it might be more in the category of a missed opportunity, and we'll see how that's going to play now. We could have made it an 8-3 contest here and give you, again, that momentum continuing to go your way.
O'Rourke swarmed by two defenders. Tyler Brown and Colton Vondersar. Both players would love to get the beat on O'Rourke and get a turnover to get that ball back.
O'Rourke did draw a crowd, and it's probably what you'll see again the rest of the way. And I would expect Westfield's going to be a little more physical like what you're seeing right here.
Yeah, Lunsford there. And Westfield is a man up, so they had the opportunity to double. O'Rourke scoops that amongst the chaos. And HSE keeps possession. Kress over to Gastineau, who's been quiet. Shane had 2 goals against Carmel on Friday. Trot. Underneath, ball slips out of the cross of Lucas Kress. There's a turnover here, maybe for Westfield. They do get it. Lunsford, utility man, also endurance athlete. He has been out there for the better part of 5 minutes. Quick shot wide of the cage. And that one fired away from Dickmeyer. It stays with the Shamrocks.
Right thought, though. I mean, look how quickly they got down the field and got themselves into scoring position, almost kind of turning the tables there on what Hamilton Southeastern's been able to do so far tonight in their transition.
Under 6.5 to play in our third quarter. And the pass thrown away for Westfield. Not what you want to have.
Nope. Yeah, that we thought you're talking about the first few minutes of this third quarter. They were pretty much mistake-free other than that missed opportunity. So at least they have, speaking of the Shamrocks, cut down on some of those mistakes.
Quick shot. John Paul's trying to go for the hat trick.
I'll give Spencer Ellis credit again. Facing a team that was coming at him with a lot of quickness. You know, the good news is if these two teams do happen to play in the tournament, at least Ellis has a pretty good idea now what he's up against.
No doubt. Definitely a sense as a goalkeeper that you get. He's just a junior, by the way, where you feel like you can get into a rhythm against certain shot takers. But HSE has so many of them, it's probably hard to keep track.
Yeah, it is. and yeah, that'll be impossible. But, you know, the one thing that you hear a lot of the college players talk about, they watch a lot of film and they get tendencies. They kind of know where guys want to play. And so I would imagine for Ellis, he'll go back and look at this and he'll have a better idea what to do next time.
Heelman taking it himself. Kreckler's there for the save. You don't often see that effort out of long poles at the high school level, but he saw his opportunity.
I like Kreckler. He got behind the cage and swung out to the left side. That defender was coming after him pretty good. He got rid of it quickly to get back into the offensive side.
Kemp held scoreless so far. West Brame on him, and Westfield's going to yield a penalty here. HSE picks it up. Clock still runs. No, they're going to call it dead.
Well, think about it right now. If you're Westfield, now defensively, you've done your job. Still, Hamilton Southeastern on 8. Still can't find anything on offense, and maybe that'll be something that will come, but I feel pretty good about what I'm doing on defense here in the third quarter. Other than like what my Celtics are doing. Did we have this
Man
NBA
down.
discussion last year when we were here last time and your Bucks were winning it all the time? Yeah.
Yes, and last year when we did that, the Bucks were winning at the time. This year they had the easy out. We won't talk about it though.
I won't bring it up.
I will root vicariously for you.
Thank you. Yeah, that 8 seed, that's tough. I won't bring it up again, though. I promise I won't tell you about it again.
I appreciate that. And my heart still.
I bet it does.
Just open wounds. Over top. Wow, what a save from Ellis. That was a missile.
Yeah, there's no
Gavin
doubt.
Berry.
Wow. That had some heat on it.
Lunsford can't handle it. John Paul's 2-on-3 with O'Rourke. And Westfield shooting themselves in the foot on another clear.
Yeah, second big mistake they made here in the third. Let's see if it'll end up costing them a goal.
Very nice catch. Pass to the assist. O'Rourke. Elevator to the penthouse.
Goal, number 4, Owen O'Rourke.
That's his 6th goal of the day.
Well, we know, at least I think at this stage, you're probably looking at 7 of the 11 goals tonight have come on some kind of a mistake, and you saw the Westfield unable to clear, and they just weren't able to make the adjustments defensively, and then, of course, O'Rourke does his job.
He is a sharp shooter. Did you hear the jingle on the nets? Our lovely HSE staff telling us that they got the new pads in there that have they're lined with chains or something otherwise. I don't know. My listening skills are going away.
So it jingles when
but
you hit it?
Yeah, just like a lot of colleges will have the ding. You'll hear the ping off the net.
So
I'm sure we got that one. We didn't pick up the crowd mic, but it's there, I'm sure.
So that's it for the assistants, for the officials, right? More than what?
No, I think it's to be really cool.
Just fun? Okay, good. Looks good there. Yeah, hanging off the net.
Because it sounds awesome.
All right.
Three minutes to go in the third. O'Rourke with 2/3 of the goals for this Royal squad today. Pass gets deflected. Bounced around. Lunsford again, man. First team all hustle. And it's scooped by Zeke Richardson.
I'm not so sure if I wasn't the track coach for one of these two teams, I'd have him on my 100-meter dash.
Oh, a nice little toe drag to get it out there. Lunsford, just a junior. Troy Dinkle's pretty high on him. Also a football player. Didn't play football until this season. Became the backup running back. He's one of the team captains for this squad here for the lacrosse team. He can play all over the field. He's working on his face-off game, too, to add to his arsenal.
There you go.
Towards the end of the season and his senior year next year. Theo Dagger. HSE giving themselves a generous slide package, doubling him early.
He has no breathing room, does he?
No, he doesn't. Up to Jackson Gilbert. And Westfield was set up. See that shell of HSE. No one is in the middle. They're all spread out to go play man-to-man.
Yep.
Final 90 seconds of the third quarter.
You know what? One other part about that, again, when you think about how good your goalkeeper is, you can do that stuff on defense.
Yeah. You can 15-yard shots, 12 to 15-yard shots you'll allow because Kreckler is so good.
That's right.
He will take his talents to Crawfordsville next year. Play collegially the Division III level for Wabash. Another turnover for HSE. Kress on the run. One more pass. How about another? 7 goals for Owen O'Rourke. Max Kemp with the assist.
I really don't think I need to say anything on that one. I mean, that was a carbon copy of what you saw earlier. And the ability to get the turnover was part of the key. But the other part was how quickly Hamilton Southeastern got in on offense.
It's the most times I've heard Jay-Z in one of his intros after Owen O'Rourke's goals. In one sitting.
I thought you liked Jay-Z.
I do. Of course I do.
Just
How can
not
you
repeated that many times.
One of the kings. Just no. You can. I mean, it's
7
just so
times.
much. He ought to have alternate tracks. Like, hey, play this every other one.
So in other words, that's his only flaw in the game he has is his music.
Right. Exactly.
Right, okay.
Or if you want to keep with Jay-Z, put Heart of the City in there.
He might just tell you if you score 7, I'll let you do whatever you want. But for right now, I'm scoring the 7.
Right, exactly. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter here. HSE 10-2 over Westfield. They've lost 3 straight heading into this one, falling to in-state rival Carmel on Friday. Stinging that one to the top corner. Graham Ewing.
You know what was interesting about the last 90 seconds of this third quarter, and you were talking about it when Westfield was in the offensive end, and I thought, okay, listen, they're holding him to 8, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 just like what happened in the first half, and that'll just take the wind out of your sails big time. In Westfield, they're going to have to find a way now at some point as time runs out here in the third when they get to their next couple of matches to make sure they don't give up flurries of points.
Final couple seconds. O'Rourke hurts his shooting average, but I can't say it hurts too much when you've already got 7 goals to your name. Hamilton Southeastern leads 11-2 after 3 quarters. We'll be back for the fourth quarter right here in IndianaSRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
At one point in my life, alcohol ruled supreme. It was not impossible for me to wake up just as drunk as before I went to sleep, and I use the term go to sleep loosely. I think on most nights it wasn't falling asleep, it was just passing out. There was no way I was getting out of it with my own willpower, so I decided to give Wheeler a try. And since my graduation from Wheeler's program, alcohol has not had any kind of hold on me whatsoever.
Back here at Hamilton Southeastern, Troy Darengowski, Joey Lindstrom with you. Fourth quarter incoming right here on IndianaSRN. Westfield will host Noblesville and then visit South Bend St. Joe and then finish up with a hot Center Grove team who opened the season against Hamilton Southeastern, but the Trojans are a force to be reckoned with maybe this year.
Yeah.
Fourth in the state right now, according to lacrossenumbers.com, 11-4, and they've got that team right where they really want to be, and that's something that, you know, you look at the state of different programs across Indiana. That's one team that looked pretty good against Hamilton Southeastern for the first part of the game, and then Hamilton Southeastern did what Hamilton Southeastern does at home this season. But that's not a knock on Center Grove. They really did become what they were hoping to be this season, now 11-4. And Westfield's going to have a tall order in these last 3 games following tonight.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But again, what you're looking at now is building yourself toward that state tournament. Try to shore up some things that you need to shore up and make sure you find a strength here or there that might have been a weakness. And then, again, we've seen some weird things happen in sports over the years, and you just never know. When you get in that tournament, a lot of different things can happen.
That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah.
Some May madness.
You know what is really exciting is the Blackhawks today get the
I was hoping that, you know, amongst our different teams, we would agree on something.
Yeah, they get the number 1 pick. A lot of people are upset, thought it was rigged or whatever. But I'm going on a roller coaster ride here in my life today.
Yeah.
You know, then you got the Celtics losing. I get to come up here, work with you, which is high. I had to come from the city where they drive like maniacs and then try to figure out how to get through a roundabout, which was, you know, always confusing for me.
That is hard, yeah.
And
our producer Nick just said, imagine being a Celtics fan and complaining. Well, I have to agree.
You know, I've got some issues with Nick too, but we'll talk about those later. You know, sometimes I get in a roundabout and get so confused, I feel like a glass blower with hiccups because I just don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm like...
I've never heard that one.
I'll go home tonight. It'll be dark, and I'll be like, do I go? She always tells me in the GPS, take the third turn. Well, I don't know which the third turn is.
I hope you brought your night driving glasses.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But I've got your phone number in case I don't make it.
I'll talk you through it. Gavin Berry underneath. John Paul's 2 goals tonight for the junior, and one behind the back that was oh so pretty. And Lucas Kress, who had the other behind-the-back shot and goal. His pass gets a little errant.
So you've never heard about the glass blower with hiccups?
No, I haven't.
Never heard of that before?
I've never heard that.
Well, you're young. You young guys, I tell you what. You know.
I'm happy to learn.
I know.
Yeah, well, why don't you give us the
think
the
about
impetus?
It. Have you ever seen a glass blower and he has hiccups?
I know. I get that.
Think about
I don't
that.
know if it originated from something, or if there was a Darengowski-ism.
Well,
maybe.
It could be.
Well, how about Lunsford? All heart, but he gets the turnover here. Gavin Wright. Or excuse me, Gavin Berry.
I'll tell you what.
Scoots it up to Kai Trott. Yeah.
That's stick control. I mean, I'll tell you what, you scoop, throw, next thing you know, you make the high catch and you're off and back on offense.
Amazing. And what's so great about these teams now, I mean, you think about a Hamilton Southeastern, these kids work all the time at their craft, and that's not something you get in every program. You know, they know they're back-to-back. You could just as easily have settled and be comfortable with that. As another goal is scored, that's a hat trick for John Pauls.
Number 27, John
Well,
Pauls.
you know what, Joe, you're right. You could say, well, you know what, we've won 2 in a row, but if you're looking to establish a program that is going to be successful year in and year out, starts with your feeder program, and then you develop those kids all the way through, and that's why you have success every year. Your record, like we said, coming in might be 8-8, but you play good teams, because when you get to the tournament, you want to know when they look at you, they're better than 8-8. So give them all credit, but it takes a lot of work to be where you're at if you're going to be one of the top teams.
Possession, Royals.
I think that was O Canada, by the way, for John Pauls. I had heard it earlier. I was like, I'm not sure.
Is he from Canada?
Probably not.
Oh.
I'll bet he's from Fishers or the surrounding area.
Maybe just like Canada.
Maybe he must. Maybe that's his favorite song.
Hey.
More power to him.
I say, yeah, whatever floats your boat, right?
A couple new faces. Trey Boyson, 15 out there in white for Hamilton Southeastern. Along with Tyler Bast as well.
Maybe as an uncle in Canada, and it was an honor, I'd like to shout out to him while he's watching tonight.
I love that. Yeah. Fully support. Kemp weaving through. Still scoreless tonight, has 2 assists by our count. Working at X. Underneath. Intercepted. Lunsford had a piece of it. Tyler Brown had scooped it briefly. Now fighting. And John Pauls gets it again, and a flag on Westfield ensuing. Shamrocks have been spending a lot of time in the penalty box.
Yeah, and they couldn't clear it either. When you had a 50-50 ball chance on the right side there, you had 2 Shamrock players right there, and neither one of them could get possession.
That's a 9th save for Spencer Ellis. And for giving up 12 goals, he's had a heck of a night as well. Really keeping this team in it when HSE has taken a lot of shots on goal today.
Well, and that'll come down to your defenders. We talked about a couple of the goals there in the first half where the defenders were just completely out of position. Yep. If they're in position, they're going to give you more help. But that's the key. That's a big word, if.
Not that big, just 2 letters.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Whipping it through beautifully. Owen O'Rourke. How about it? 8 goals for the senior.
You going to hear that song again?
I'm ready. I'm always ready for Jay-Z. 8 times over. Owen O'Rourke will be enrolling at the Naval Academy next year. And for how great of a lacrosse player he is, if he has the opportunity, I mean, not that he's going to listen to some broadcaster, but he should go try to walk on if he's able to. I mean, and that's pretty demanding.
Don't sell yourself short, not just some broadcaster, Joey Lindstrom broadcaster. He might still take offense to you going after his music, but other than that,
no,
you're
it's
an okay guy.
It's no offense. He's so good he ought to have an alternate. Looking through. In and out of the cage. That's not going to count, according to the officials. Rattle around. Second chance goes. Kemp dunks it home.
Yeah, you could hear the hit on the post up here. And then, of course, unfortunately for Westfield, the bounce right back to Hamilton Southeastern.
They're going to call that goal off.
Wow.
Well, we'll see the replay here.
I didn't see why that was.
Possible step in the crease there for HSE. Regardless, it's Westfield ball. 13-2 our count.
I don't think
in
anybody
favor
was
of the
close
Royals.
enough, Joey. If you looked at the replay, I didn't see anybody in the crease.
I didn't either. Maybe they thought Kemp had stepped in. Regardless, Smogard is going to be taking this, and Westfield now trying to retain this possession. What a beautiful effort out of Hamilton Southeastern. And Tyler Bast
Well, you know what? This certainly happened in a hurry. As we said, a flurry. It was 8-2, and Westfield had come off that goal score, and they got the possession back, and we thought, you know what, if they could get it to 8-3, they had momentum going their way, but this Hamilton Southeastern team just too quick.
Trot. Backwards shovel. Excuse me.
Goal, number 27,
John Pauls. I beg your pardon.
It's 4 for him now, isn't it?
It is 4 goals for John Pauls. That O Canada ring. Incredible effort.
Should we stand up or anything?
Oh, I wouldn't know if you were Canadian. And he was a guy at the beginning of the year. Scott Beasley felt like he was going to have a promising season. He's done more than has been asked of him. 4 goals tonight. And he's going to have a big impact for this offense later in the season.
Well, you know what? And you should be expected to do more. And the other thing about it is now you start to build even more confidence in the offense. You kind of see, again, the way they pass and the crispness that you see each and every possession. They just don't make mistakes. That's one thing about it. I think the note you put on there earlier was just about their offense being flawless in many situations, and they've pretty much been that, other than that little lull there in the third quarter early, but then they picked it up toward the end of the third.
Just an impressive showing all around. Just over 5 minutes to go here at Hamilton Southeastern. Theo Dagger had the goal in the first quarter. He's been held at bay ever since. Really talented sophomore. Got a lot to offer for this team. Troy Dinkle says it shows his youth sometimes, but overall he couldn't be a better guy to run point for this offense right now at this juncture of the season.
Yeah, they try to cut her down the middle lane there. Unfortunately, the pass was off the mark. That's one thing Westfield will have to really improve on, and that's in the passing department, especially when they're looking for players in scoring position, get them in a lane. When they cut down the lane like that, the pass has to be on the mark, and the last one just a little bit too high.
This is Kai Trott. Westfield team, the last 4 games of their season, this one being the first of those particular 4. 3 out of those 4 games playing against teams ranked higher than Westfield. And there's not a whole lot of difference between the teams ranked 3rd through 7th.
Yeah.
As far as strength of schedule, as far as rating goes, they're all within a couple points of each other. This thing could get really interesting in the next week and a half, just like you said early, Troy.
Yeah, and again, with that little difference, you just don't know what's going to happen. Of course, we can state the obvious when you look at Westfield making the kind of mistakes they're making tonight, but they'll go back to practice, get ready for the next matchup. They'll work on these things, the passing, as we said a little bit ago, making sure they don't turn the ball over, because bottom line is every possession is so important when you're playing good teams like Hamilton Southeastern. You just can't keep giving it back to them.
Right. And you don't want to be giving out freebies, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Especially against this team.
And if you want to relate it to any other sports, think about turnovers in basketball, and the next thing you've got 21 turnovers, you're just giving the other team 21 extra offensive possessions.
Yeah.
And if they score in just half of them, you're in big trouble.
And markedly, most analysts will go to points off turnovers as a big reason why you're either winning or losing the game.
Yep. And it's nothing new, really, when you think about if players value the possession of the ball or possession of what we have out here in lacrosse, is that it does make a big difference. and you got to get the players to understand that.
2 minutes.
Lunsford was trying to take that one himself. He gets double team. Spencer Ellis trying to Gilman this one ahead to anybody in green. Flag on the field. And this will be on Hamilton Southeastern. Marcus Laux, he's donning the number 1 because Dylan O'Rourke is out right now. He broke his collarbone earlier this season. And Scott Beasley's hopeful that his most dynamic defender and / long stick midfielder will be back by playoffs. He doesn't want to force it, but he says the resiliency of that kid to get back out there is second to none. I mean, he's just a sophomore, got a lot of ball left to play. Unlike his brother, who's going to be graduating, Dylan O'Rourke gets to carry on that legacy.
Yeah,
that's going to be huge if he can come back in this playoffs and be effective.
Well, the one thing you don't want to do is come back too quickly, like you say, because sometimes you end up coming back too fast, and it's a big hit right there.
Huge hit. Luke Williams is in goal for Hamilton Southeastern. It's a little contact there with Noah McCoy. Clock will continue to run. Hamilton Southeastern will move to 9-8 overall on the season, and Westfield will fall to 6-9 with Noblesville looming. Troy, how did Hamilton Southeastern take control so fast and so quickly in this game?
Take advantage of mistakes and quick transition from defense to offense. And when they did it, it was like cutting through soft butter with a warm knife. I mean, it was just so fast. I think it was kind of like shock and awe when it came to what they were doing to that Westfield defense. And I don't know that I ever felt like Westfield was going to be in this game, even at the third quarter, when I thought if they could make it 8-3, there's just too much offense. And you mentioned it before. If you tried to stop one player, here comes another one. And then the other player come back, the play you wanted to stop. Okay, well, maybe we can get, no, it happens over. It just seemed like it was just one after the other. When you play good teams again, you can't make mistakes and give the other team more possessions, and that's what cost them here tonight.
Hamilton Southeastern, after a 3-game losing streak, gets themselves back on track with a big win against the Westfield Shamrocks. And for Westfield, this time last year, they were moving and grooving. Now they have to get themselves on the right track, and Troy Dinkle has the squad to do it. Scott Beasley has the team to go ahead and try to make another run. Just another lovely, action-packed Tuesday night in the IHSAA. So for Troy Darengowski, my broadcast partner, for Nick Lewis, our producer, and for Chuck Levine, our cameraman, I'm Joey Lindstrom saying so long. This has been a presentation of IHSAA Lacrosse on IndianaSRN. The next time you will see us, most likely, is the Club Invitational and the 1A and 2A state championships. So until then, so long and enjoy lacrosse.